Thank you, Jean. Hello, everyone. Hello there on Zoom as well. Today is Wednesday, December 14th at 7 o'clock. This is the regular monthly meeting of the Southwick Agricultural Commission. We have myself, Syack Fitzmalan, Marissa Cook, Obregon, Zach Barnett, and Sage Hume. So we do have a quorum. And we have some guests that we'll get to in just a minute. Just wanted to go over a couple of communication items. Oh, where's Dan Cook? He's always there. There's anyway, Commissioner Dan Cook and his wife Julie own a store in Westfield. So I was gonna give him a little shout out, but he's not here. So and also want to acknowledge Sage for our cleanup days at the Sopanowski Preserve. There are people who can't stay the full 3 hours because they need a bathroom break. So Sage has donated a what do you call it?
It's basically a tent like porta potty thing where you literally have this disposable bags and the actual toilet seat is portable, and then it's a tent, privacy tent, and it's for pretty much on any size it says.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out.
So I tried to get a receipt from Sage, but he said no, he's donating it. So thank you, Sage.
Thank you.
And it's all good.
And one other, I guess I'll call this correspondence. Heard from Lynn Blair at the library today. They're showing a home vegetable garden planning workshop at the library on January 25th. With Honey Adams, who is the owner of the Yellowstone House Farm in Westfield. They are the first USDA certified organic farm in Westfield. She's going to be talking about, planning your garden, how to grow healthy plants, that type of thing. So not sure everybody's aware of that. Let's see, now we have anybody else have any sort of communications, correspondence type of things? Let's see. So we have our minutes of November 9. We'll have to take a minute now to go over them because even though Jean reminded me twice, I didn't get her my edits 3 times, sorry. So if you want to take a look at those for a minute or two, we can get those approved.
Now just on the last page under community garden signs, the second sentence, the garden, which was no berry,
Yeah,
not really.
not very.
Oh, I'm interested in that.
And I had a couple on page 2.
There's one.
Very good. When you do.
We need it. There you go. You're welcome.
Just looking at the minutes of November 9th.
Okay. What else was there?
Then Jean, on page 2 of the old business. The second item, Sopanowski Land Preserve Chairman Hanson. And then third sentence, the fire department is also granted an open burning permit. And then maybe a semicolon or hyphen or something, and then it's the piles of brush that can't be bigger than a Volkswagen. I think that's
Okay.
all I had. A little aside, we've had 2 of those work days at the Sopanowski, and the other day, Carol and Dana Blade, who are abutters, I think they burned 5 Volkswagens worth of brush. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 9th as amended.
Tammy seconds.
Okay. And I think I said the first time, I'll do it the way conservation does it, so since I made the motion, Tammy seconded. I think we need to vote, so Melissa.
Aye.
Lena.
Aye.
Zach. Aye. And Sage.
Aye.
Okay. So,
Oh, that was not actually at that meeting.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't?
It doesn't,
Okay.
no.
Cool.
No, that was a old reason that no longer exists.
Great, good to know.
Yeah,
Is that your wife? Pam?
oh, yeah, yeah.
actually, nobody has to sign it,
Oh, really?
Oh, it would be even better.
but I prefer, I
Yeah.
would prefer them sign, but that's just me.
So we do have some guests tonight, Mike Krista and Maureen Grenier from the Hamden County Improvement League, and they are in a same business that we're in, which is promoting agriculture, right? So wanted to, hear a little bit more about the organization. If you wanna, well, let's see, can we squeeze you up here at the table or you can stay there?
I'll sit. So my name is Maureen Frenier, and I'm the current president of the Hamden County Improvement League. We've got Mike Patricio, who's one of our board members and sits on many of our committees, and Sue Groska, who is our current secretary, and is also sitting on a few of our committees coming up. So we just kind of wanted to we were asked to come. So thank you for the invite. We do appreciate that. We have been in Hamden County since 1913. So we've been around for a long time. We currently have about 85 active members, and about 110 that our newsletters and our communications go out to annually. We meet every spring and we meet every fall. So we meet with an annual meeting in the spring and an annual meeting in the fall. We do have about 40 to 50 people at our fall meeting. That's where we do a lot of our voting and a lot of our nominations for our positions. But our spring meeting, we've been rotating over the last couple of years with COVID. We kind of changed the way we do things, but we've been had the opportunity during COVID to offer a one-time grant for $25,000 to our 3 local agricultural fairs in Hamden County. So that was the Blanford Fair, the Louisville Fair, and the Westfield Fair. So they all had to go through a rigorous application process. Our board and a select committee reviewed that, and all of them were approved to receive the funding. They have completed their projects and received the final payments. So that was a very impressive kind of contribution to not only their programs, but for us to be able to be a part of investing in their agriculture in the future. But with that, we kind of changed how we do our spring meetings, and now we have been rotating through their fairs to kind of see their fairs, see their programs, meet their people, invite them to be a part of our program, but also to just get on their property and see what they've been doing. They've all been very active over the last 10 years, I would say, in investing in their infrastructure. So it's been very nice to have the opportunity to kind of get back engaged with them. Throughout the year, we offer kind of 4 different programs, I would say, that can touch anybody in Hamden County in a different way. So we do offer program grants. So there's $15,000 that's allocated from our budget each year that goes towards that program. That can be any agricultural organization that can apply that's within the Hamden County. Can be 4-H program, can be youth agriculture, can be fair programming, or Westfield Vocational is also one of those opportunities as well. We usually take the applications, the program committee will review those. They'll disperse it against anybody who's not one of the local fairs, and then the remaining fund is split equally between the 3 fairs. So it just kind of gives them the opportunity to continue to build whatever they're working on that year. A lot of roofs have been replaced, a lot of electrical has been done, things that keep their fair going and keep it appealing to the eye of the public when they do come on the property. The $25,000 grant was part of that program committee, and it was we had a selected additional committee of 5 members that got to go to each fair and do the inspections as the grant kind of went through its process. And that was very good opportunity for our people to kind of meet some of the people that have boots on the ground at the fair, but they're not always the ones that we work with. So that was a good opportunity, but also to see what they need coming down the pipeline, because that's something we need to take into consideration as we discuss it financially annually for us. And then we have a scholarship committee that has $18,000 budgeted each year. So currently, probably like every other scholarship program in Western Mass that I'm aware of, we're challenged with getting applicants. So we've taken the opportunity over the past 2 years to really push that online presence. So with all of our applications, we're starting to get that PDF out there, get it in a format that can be emailed, can be sent in electronically, get it on our active website, get it out on Facebook. And we were very fortunate this year, and I'll hand a couple of these out. Mike took on a very big project for us that Hamden County Improvement League ended up funding with the Hamden County Special 4-H program. And was able to put a active float in the daily parade at the Big E every day. So got in front of 1.6 million guests each day. And this QR code was active not only on that float and in the parade every day, but it was positioned outside of the Moses dormitory, which is a 4-H dormitory during the fair. And those QR codes were put on some signage and some promotional pieces that went in each building during the fair. So it gave people the opportunity, if you want to join 4-H, this is how you get there. So that links to not only our 4-H, our state 4-H program, our Hamden County 4-H program, but also Hamden County. So to our knowledge, it doesn't exist anywhere today. So that was a really good opportunity for us to just get in front of not only Western Mass, but New England. That's kind of the demographic that's touched at that program every year, but it's a great opportunity to just get that on somebody's cell phone to be able to find it going forward. Our other program that is, we have our nominating committee and our membership committee. So obviously that's trying to engage new members. Our nominating committee helps engage new people on not only our committees, but our board and our officer positions. And then our investments in finance. So we are very fortunate to have a strong financial background in our organization. So that is, if you've heard, we like to invest that back into our agricultural programs in Hamden County. But it takes a lot to do that. We have a phenomenal treasurer who's very invested in that program. But we do meet 3 times a year to review that. There's a strong committee that does go through those finances each year with a fine-tooth comb and just keeps it invested, keeps it going, and keeps that supplemental income coming in every year to allow for that to be reinvested back into the programs in Hamden County. So this year we are very excited to launch a new development, a youth agricultural development committee. And is what that's going to be is we've seen the need over the past few years, especially as these youth have been pulled from school programming and youth agricultural programming. They get selected to go to some type of a national competition or a national camp or even a local or regional program, and they're being told to fund it all. So they're being challenged with a large hefty bill that they may not have been aware of or presented in the beginning of the conversation. And now they've done all the legwork to get offered that opportunity, and then their parents are being looked at to pay for it. And with COVID and the restrictions that have been out there, these kids haven't been able to put fundraising programs together as easily. So a lot of discussion and a lot of opportunity, but we've implemented it. It's going to be out there launched in January. It's an opportunity for Hamden County youth, and they can be involved. We're just calling it youth agricultural development because we just don't know what it's quite going to look like. It could be a 4-H program, it could be an equine program, it could be an FFA program. It could be something we're not even thinking about. So we were fortunate to have a lot of input on this, and we kind of took encompassed a lot of different programs that already exist out there now and just thought of what there could be as an opportunity. And it's going to be out there. The kids are going to have to submit a budget. They're going to have to go through an application process, and then they're going to be required to present back to our committee in the fall each year. So it just kind of gets them in front of our committee. Our organization is, as most agricultural organizations, challenged with bringing in new younger members, and that's the future. So we are continued with that challenge, just like everyone else. But this is hopefully a way to get those people in front of us and just have them see what they could engage in to kind of be involved in the future. So one thing that I like to say about Hamden County Improvement League is one of the biggest things I've learned from it is networking. There's a great opportunity. There's a vast majority of our people are farmers, or they also own businesses in their own way. So I think with these programs that we're launching that are just maybe they're a one-time opportunity, or maybe they are a future endeavor that continues each year, we have the people that we can connect them with to help them. So, we talk a lot about these scholarships that we have 18,000 that's committed each year, but we're barely giving out, the last couple of years, we're barely giving out $5 grand. I mean, that's despicable. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know how we get that in front of kids any better, but with that, we also have to consider, is college the same these days? So that's just where, those conversations have to go. I'm pro-education, don't get me wrong, but it's just not for everybody. And unfortunately, the opportunities are not the same these days. So those are the conversations that we're having. We really see the value in putting it online right now for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of these kids are being presented with doing this themselves these days. So they're not able to drive to their school and pick something up, or drive to their town hall and grab an application that's at the front desk. So we just want it at their fingertips. They all have cell phones, they all have tablets, they all have access to the internet in some way, shape, or form. So we're hoping this will help engage getting them kind of in front of us a little bit more. And the more that we develop our programs, we're hoping to get them back in to talk to us so that they can see why it's valuable to be a part of our program. So we meet technically twice a year. We have a few committees that meet a few more times in that year. It's not a big commitment, but I feel like you do gain a lot out of it. I came in as a scholarship recipient. I was asked to come present at a dinner and I kept coming back. So my family is very involved for a long time too, so I didn't have a choice for a couple of years, but I chose to stay. I don't know if you guys haven't brought it
I think the big thing that, just to reiterate that, is that we're not really giving out free money. It's a chore for them to fill out an application, and they have a follow through in budgeting, so it's a real good life experience and a business experience. It just really helps that way. And the reason soon I got into this program was pretty much the same way. Annalise was at 4-H and get to this college age, and it's just a great program to, get some money and just to further your education.
And we allow everybody to reapply for these programs from year to year. So the fairs, the school programs, the scholarships, they can continue to get the money. So if they continue to put the effort in, they're able to get the funding. So we see that.
What's the source of your funding?
It's fixed. We don't have any kind of, fundraising stuff.
Right.
It's all fixed, like an annuity that we've had for, 100 years.
I didn't sign in, but we used to own the Hampton County Improvement Building, the Big E, and sold that to the Big E.
And we had a lot of financial people at the time that made some very strong investments. They took a lot of risk and it paid back for us. So that money has continued, we've continued to have a good person in that department who has been able to invest that money. So when we look at our budget each year, we try to only spend what's coming. So we look at that money and we try to say, okay, we're getting 25 grand in income off of those, most of it's bonds and most of it's bonds. If we're getting that back as a percentage each year, that's what we're gonna spend. So right now, our expenses are about 8,000 that are coming out of pocket every year. Except for that $25,000 grant. And that was 2 years of a discussion before we finally pulled the plug and invest in that.
So we thought that was really an important thing to do, because every year, all the fairs, they applied and we gave them $3,000 max. And you can't do a whole lot with $3,000. So that's why we figured this is a good opportunity to show them what the County Improvement League is all about. And, we're getting advertised and they're getting some improvement. It was a win-win for everybody.
We gained a lot of members from it. We gained a few of them just volunteered to be on committees. So we're kind of getting that engagement that we weren't seeing for the last 10 years. But also we feel that they're kind of all in a place, any volunteer organization, they kind of go in their waves. They have a strong group or they don't have a strong group, or maybe it's a mediocre. We have 3 organizations right now that have very strong leadership programs. They've got good people on the board that are staying active. They have businesses that are volunteering their time to their group. So it was a good time for us to invest in their program, and a time that these fairs just really needed.
And I think it was the Youth Agricultural Development Program. You mentioned you had a lot of input and a lot of, I'm kind of curious what kind of outreach you did.
Yep, so what I ended up starting with was, I serve on our National Junior Breed Association board. So I kind of started with them. All those kids serve in different agricultural organizations across the country. They serve at a college level, they serve at a high school level. Some of them are in very young programs that are new. So I gathered all their applications, kind of merged them together. And then our FFA program that's at Smith Vocational in Northampton, I kind of reached out to them and asked what some of their opportunities were coming up for some youth. And it kind of got brought to my attention with one of my 4-H kids. She made the national delegation last year, and one of our board members' granddaughter did it well. And they got said, good luck, it's $3,200. And they just kind of looked at their parents like, can I go? Well, I watched what these kids went through. They're both in my 4-H club. I had to write them letters of recommendation. They went through an application process. And then all of a sudden they're being told that they've got to write a $3,000 check. And at the time, the school wasn't allowing them to do any fundraising. So they're in a better position this year. This year they ended up, I think one of the girls only had to pay 250, which was great, but again, it's out of pocket. And then sometimes an unknown expense at the time. And then we took some of our current 4-H programs. So Hamden County Special 4-H Fund has a campership program that is the same thing that you kind of apply and they give what they feel is necessary, if I'm explaining that correctly. And then same thing with a New England Breed Association program that does scholarships that can go to national convention. And then the International Association of Fairs and Expositions has some very intricate applications out there for some of their scholarship funding as well, that I just tapped into those applications, read through them, saw what some of the requirements were and tried to build it. And I tapped into the kids that were, going to potentially be asking for this money. Because is it even a need? I don't know. Maybe the parents didn't flinch a muscle at it, but the ones I was talking to were, so.
Yeah, if you have a $3,200 bill to pay, I'm sure no matter,
And in a short amount of time, I mean, sometimes they get allocated these programs in November and they're being told they're taking off in January. So sometimes they're in that, and that's why, so we had put some restrictions on the application at first, and after some discussion, we decided to make 2023 an open application process. So we're going to accept applications the whole year to kind of gather the data to see what's out there. What are kids looking for and what are they going to need? And we did put a cap on it. We didn't advertise it, but we did cap it to the same limit as our scholarships, just to kind of control it for now. But we also all felt very strongly that the education scholarship should probably way heavier than this opportunity. So.
It's good stuff. Anybody have any other questions, comments?
I guess how can we, as a local AgCom, support you guys, work with you guys? How can we help your mission?
I'll answer first, and then I would like everybody to kind of give their 2 cents. I think honestly, it's engaging members. We're looking for new members. We're looking for new people to just get involved. Like I said, it's not a huge commitment. And I think everybody here is another committee, you can't do it. It's another night, but we try to limit it. We try to get, 2 committees can meet in one night. We try to be respectful of people's time and dealing with farmers, everybody's got limited amount of time. But I think the other thing is really helping get the communication out about the programs that we do offer. Obviously, Southwick is in Hamden County. A lot of people probably do, they can apply and they just don't. So, or they don't know about it. So I think helping get that word out, we're trying to get everything electronic right now. We've got 2 more applications that have to be transitioned into that, which will be done by the first of the year. So I think we're getting ourselves in a better place. We're getting our online presence at a better platform, but just getting that, helping get that word out.
Yeah, one of the things that we always strive to do is, Mo mentioned the network of all of these great farmers and their experiences, and we just have a hard time getting that whole thing across, that if you have a question about a certain kind of farming, there's somebody here that can help you out with that. And that's it's kind of an important thing, and we just can't get that across as much as we like. I mean, that's my opinion, that we can't get it across. There's only so much you can hang with a little carrot in front of them. You gotta, get some real feedback and assistance from like an AgCom.
And we've been trying to highlight our members in our newsletters, and which hopefully will be a presence on our Facebook page eventually as well, just so people do know they're out there. I think Bottomless Farms, they do everything under the sun, but I mean, everybody knows them right now is launching their meat store in Agawam, right? So it's like they also, Derek has a hay business, they have a sawdust business, they have an electrical business, those are really great assets that a lot of people may not know about, but we can give you that connectivity if needed because we have them as a resource. So it's kind of just blurting out some of those highlights that are happening with them and their families, so that not only all our members know, but that if anybody does get wind of it, they know too. So it's kind of starting that buzz about it.
Interesting, we're having some similar conversations
Mm-hmm.
in this.
I heard we've had a lot of overlap.
I met with Doris a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Seemed to be talking about that, with their youth program, very much the same thing. You know, high schools are a great place to start. You know, they can either do it there, the membership in 4-H is not great right now, but it's still there. And if we can improve that, we can improve other things.
And I think some things to think about with your youth programs, if you're trying to outreach to something like that. I mean, you may have restrictions about the kids being from this local area, but with the way that the vocational schools are working right now, you could have kids from your local area that are going to Franklin Tech, that are going to Sci Tech, that are going to Smith Vocational. They could be at Westfield Vocational, I mean, especially if Southwood doesn't have one. You know, so you kind of have to just put the word out there with the communication saying like they do need to meet these requirements. Because I feel like that's how, I personally feel like that's how we miss a lot of people, even in our local 4-H program. Just because we don't think of that. You think of the kids that are here, right here in Southwick High School, it's a regional school, but you know, you think about the kids that are right in front of you, not necessarily maybe the 10 that might have gone somewhere else, that you're not even aware they're over there, but they might be in an agricultural program. And that's one thing. Franklin Tech just launched an agricultural program, small animals, but it's growing. I mean, Smith Vocational just got 2.4 million to put into their animal science program. Like that's a huge investment. I know we've sent 4 kids there this year. Like that's a big change. I mean, they didn't have that 5 years ago. So I think that their programs are going to continue to evolve as well.
Very interesting. Well, I don't know, I kind of feel like you're a little further along this curve than we are.
The whole idea is to see where you are on the curve,
Right.
where we are, or, and we can, you know, and think collaborate. I mean, we have people, the person that's running the youth program, you know, he's a young veterinarian and he's, you know, real sharp and he would more than happy to, you know, do some presentations, if you do presentations at schools and things like that. It's just like, you know, they're like, again, the network, the people that are there and, you know, use this as a resource, just like we can use you guys as resources.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this program existed in Southwood. Westfield doesn't have one. So to find that out.
Well, you know, I mean, we were at our last meeting and I just happened to bring up the comment, like, oh, I'm gonna possibly meet with the Southwick Ag comment. And I said, does anybody here who's from Chester? Do you guys have an ag comment? And one of the wise ass members, he got on his phone and Googled all the towns, and just about every town has an ag commission. You know, but what are they doing? You know, it's like, you know, it's just kind of frustrating that there's so much out there and so little overlap and assistance.
Yeah. Interestingly, Tammy, a few months ago, did some outreach to the state AgCom Association, if that's the right term. And they didn't make.
A lot of the towns that say they have them, they're not active. They've been inactive for many years.
All right.
I think that's what we find is these organizations have a title somewhere, but then when you actually go to find somebody, they're like, well, yeah, I was on it 10 years ago. But it's like, we haven't had a meeting in 5 years. Especially, I feel like with COVID, a lot of people weren't proactive, didn't go onto the Zoom, didn't go onto that to continue that virtual conversation. So, I mean, I think it's gonna be a few years before we see that activity pick back up, but I think that's more of a reason now more than ever that it is beneficial for our programs to lean on each other.
I'm just thinking on the practical note, we've had previous meetings where we've had a high school student from Southwick come in and kind of discuss with us the difficulties Southwick students face at that school in terms of access to these programs. Sure, there are other vocational schools in the area, but it's kind of cumbersome. They kind of explain just the logistical hurdles and kind of the school sometimes, you know, I understand there's a lot of coordination involved as well with shuttling students around and making sure that everyone gets to where they need to be. So, I mean, there seems to be some interest in our schools here in this community, being an agricultural community, to have more access to these programs. So I'm just wondering if, you know, going forward, if we get inquiries from students, seeing that we're just getting started on this journey of talking with students, getting more information, if we could, you know, directly refer them to you guys, just seeing that you already have a connection over at Smith Voc. Not saying that they shouldn't go obviously through the school and the official channels, but sometimes just having another contact there on the ground that if you can facilitate that, I feel like that could make a world of difference and maybe not discourage the students as much as they're experiencing right now with,
When
know.
When you say you're talking to students, I mean, one of the problems I see is that. It's not, you can talk to all the students you want, but if the administration, the
Oh, right.
superintendent's office, if they're not actively supporting any of these programs, it's not gonna do any benefit.
Right, and I think part of the problem as well, Mike, is that they just don't know necessarily the steps that they have to take. There's a lot of bureaucracy involved in this, so I think it's not so much that they may not want to see the students go in that direction. It's probably just kind of a research project for the administrator, but if
And
there's someone on the
budgets.
other end of Smith who can maybe say, hey, this is how other schools do it, this is the process, you just facilitate it, so maybe we can be a part of that and work on that together, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really think that that's part of where we just keep going to that online platform, because it's like, you need to be able to direct them somewhere. And unfortunately, a person isn't always going to be the answer.
Right,
Smith has a great program right now. In 5 years, it may not be that. There are two very young professors that are up there. But I mean, they're hiring 2 new professors right now in their animal science program, their plumbing program, their electrical program. They're definitely looking to invest in growing what they have there. So I think even Westfield, I mean, my niece was deciding between both of them last year and she chose Westfield. She had the same problem. Westfield didn't want to help her because Westfield had a vocational program and she wanted to go to Smith for animal science. They're like, we have horticulture here. Well, it's not the same.
no,
It's not the same.
right,
And
right,
I mean, she knew that, and as much as she pushed, they continue to withhold her application.
oh, wow.
So it's like, I see kids, it constantly happens to them in Westfield because that program's right there in front of them, and obviously they get more support when they have more kids go into the program that's there. So I think that is something where, I mean, I hate to say that out loud, but it is what happens.
Right.
And I think just to give them an avenue for a direct connection is really what some of them need. And I mean, that's where I feel like we can be a big help, because we do have the right people that you can talk to in the right place if they're part of our program.
Awesome. A lot of food for thought here.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for the invite. It was very nice to come. And like I said, if you have any other local commissions that would like to have the same conversation that you're connected to, or any other groups, we're happy to do it. We were very excited to get this invite in the first place. So I hope it can start conversations in the future.
Yeah, and by email, Mike and I talked about our event we have coming up in January, our first ever farmers forum. We're trying to get farmers together, face to face with us, so we can.
We have a bunch of farmers on the forum.
So,
Just give you the context.
What exactly is gonna happen at this farmers forum?
well, it's a kind of work in progress.
Discussion.
Basically a conversation with the farmers to make sure they're aware of us and ask them, how can we help? What.
Well, one of the problems, we had a really nice lunch today with somebody, and they were talking about. They went to a farm up in Vermont. It was a huge dairy farm, and got to talking to the people, but the bottom line was that none of the kids want to take over any of these programs. And so it's like an educational thing. Getting kids more just educated about farming, and it's really not that bad a career. It's a lot of work, but that seems to be fun. The kids just don't really, let's go for the fast buck or something, not something that's really in a hard job.
Right.
I mean, reading that article that Jim Butler wrote in this past week about his farm life on the farm, I mean, who would want to do that now? We just like 24 hours a day. It's a lot of work, but the bottom line for him is it was rewarding. And it was a really good lifestyle. Tough things to do.
Well, see, that's, I think, getting across the lifestyle part of it. Is probably a big hurdle that would be a big deal. And getting kids interested.
I mean, it's a great lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And I
We're
think
on
we'd
top of
also-
our.
I think we'd also touch on our conversation, Michael, that, these scholarship programs could potentially obviously lead people to a path where they could get a preview of that lifestyle, perhaps some sort of program, but it could also ostensibly expose them or give them access to a program that looks at agriculture kind of in a new way. I mean, we were talking about technology in agriculture and how there's a whole field there where people may want to study more of the science behind, say, fertilizers or other materials that are used in agriculture, or using technology in agriculture in ways that maybe we can't even imagine right now. So,
It's not your father's technical farming anymore.
right, it's evolving, you know, there's.
Exciting time.
Right. You think about hydroponics where that was like 20 years ago and you wonder where the next 20 years are going. So it's exciting. You can kind of look at it from the standpoint of, yeah, it can be a lifestyle sort of thing, or it can kind of, you know, be something totally new that we don't even understand right now or know what's coming. So, but it sounds like your programs could give people access to that sort of education and exposure, which is really cool, you know?
It really is education. That's the most important word here, is to teach people what this is all about. Not
Right.
necessarily kids, but adults, teach them what this is all about, and maybe these adults can guide their children into this kind of thing. I mean, it's just. It's a challenge.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming. It's fascinating.
Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Anybody wants to think about being a member, membership is cheap. $500 a year,
Okay.
you know, I mean, again, it never.
Thank
you
you.
guys have Mike's contact. I signed in with my email and phone number, you know, feel free to reach out if I can help at all.
I know where to find them. You live on the same street.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys are neighbors, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
very much.
Thanks for coming. Hey, Mike, thanks, Sue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's why Mike said he. About coffee, so, yeah. Okay. All right, now back to regular business. Hey, Jason. I think I'll jump ahead to the farmer's forum just for a sec, because the website and all that fits into that. Well, actually, I was gonna ask you, do we think we might have that up by January 11th?
Well, I actually have next week off, so I plan to actually use some of that time to actually get that darn thing done. I do have it up technically right now, for example, but for some reason I can't get it to pull up on Zoom. Zoom keeps crashing, so I can't show it.
Oh,
But I mean, yeah, that's one of my plans this week off I have, is to jump on that and get some graphics done. Because that's what I'm lacking right now, the graphics. Content, we pretty much have some to start with, and I can add this to it too, so.
yeah.
Sorry, I missed the last meeting. Can we just recap? We did get the okay from town hall to have a website, like that's totally a go, like.
No.
That probably.
Oh.
We're kind of doing a separate thing on my personal website where I just branched it off and making a carbon copy of an example of what we could have accomplished. And then either we present that to town hall, or I just get the darn.com site for us and figure that part out later.
Yeah, I would just say if you're gonna do all the work. You know, and it's gonna carry the AgCom name in any capacity, I would just be careful and get that permission. I think it can be pretty straightforward because there is a precedent set. The Economic Development Commission does have their own website, so it can be done. I would just, before you
that's the
invest
right
any
chance.
time, yeah, just out of your own kind of effort and time, you know, make sure that. Yeah, I'm sure they would give you the okay, because again, there is another commission that's doing the same exact thing, and I think the whole thing is that they pay for it, they manage it. But because it has a town hall name, so, you know, Southwick Economic Development Commission, I think it just needed to be. Did anyone ever talk to Michael McMahon or ask him? Because he's the one that manages that website.
Yeah, oh, he does?
He
I know
does, yeah. He
personally.
told me I don't know if he changes it, but he said that he pays for it out of his own pocket, so.
Really?
It's been doing so for years,
Yeah.
from what I understand from what he told me, so,
I haven't talked to him specifically about the website, no.
yeah.
But.
Hey, reach out and let me know.
Yeah.
I'll still go forward with what I'm doing at least till then.
Because then it can also get linked from the town website. It's there, so if people go to the AdCom page on the town website, then
Yeah, I'll be there.
it'll be there and. You can link it also then if you get permission to the Facebook page, you know how Facebook has a section for you to link the website to it, so if they give the okay, then. Perfect place for that, you know, and then people can actually go to your website, which would be, you know, that's the whole idea, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Definitely wanna establish it though.
right,
Might help us, not hurt us.
So yeah, last Friday, Marissa and Renita and Tammy and I did a little brainstorming about the farmers forum and what's it gonna be like, and well, the most important thing, we need to offer to bring them the goodies. The treats. But we do want, you know, thinking it'll be pretty casual, just a conversation, that let them know that the farmers who come. You know who we are, what we're about, and then. Get them to talk, you know, how can we help them? And Lenita, you know, I brought up the issue of grant writing and. Lenita said, you know, well, maybe we should be a resource for what kinds of grants are out there. What kinds of resources, sounds like HCIL is doing that, some of that kind of stuff. And hopefully it'll be not just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And we can do it, you know, we wanna, we talked about this a lot, you know, what would be a good time for our open farm day next year. And Lenita says anytime but May or September, October.
And we're not working.
And actually today I had an interview with Miasha Lee, who works with the Reminder and Westfield News, and she. I'm not entirely sure how she found out about the Farmers Forum, but she wants to know what it is and when and what's going on, so. That'll be in the Reminder of the Westfield News pretty soon, so. I guess we'll have to do it.
Are you gonna send out, invitations to specific farm?
Mm.
Yeah. good.
Yes, yeah,
You
yeah.
want to see that it's on the library link too? The date was changed, then put out prior, so.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I met with the library trustees last night, including Tammy, to talk to them about it. I've been talking with Lynn Blair, the director, you know, see if we can use their community room. And she's fine with it. She's actually from a farm family, which was good to hear. And she's very enthusiastic about it, and I gotta give her a shout out too. I've only talked with her a couple of times, but she immediately finds a way that the library can connect with this stuff, you know, how can the library help? Oh, this is what the library could do. You know? So she's a good PR person, for a lack of a better term, for the library, so it's good.
Good.
Let's see, anything else on that? I think that's about it. Okay, oh, and Marissa, with the brochure, you know, we need there's a couple of corrections we should make, and Pumpkin Valley Farms, you know, Stan
yeah,
retired,
right.
so what's the chances of getting that redone by January 11th? And and I'm happy to do whatever I can to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of reprinting them,
Yeah.
all, I don't know if that's something that we want to quite invest in now, just seeing that we still have like several. Maybe like about 400 more,
Oh, we still have that many?
we still have
Oh,
that
I
many,
didn't realize
so
that.
I
Okay.
think if we at least get through this first round and see, you know, get some response from folks.
Okay.
If
It's
we,
a
I mean,
pilot anyway.
pardon?
It's like a pilot anyway. We're
Yeah.
trying testing the waters.
Right, right, yeah, I would be of the opinion that, you know, we bring what we do have to this farm forum, we could certainly note on there that Pumpkin Valley is no longer.
On each one?
Yeah, exactly. And the typos, yeah, I guess we'll look at the typos.
Yeah,
He wasn't open that much in the last several years anyway.
Right.
Just, well,
that's why,
it's, the development rights are sold and I'll continue to farm it as long as I can lease it, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
gonna go away
Yeah.
as a farm.
yeah,
So-
I think we've talked about the fact that he was complaining about the fees he has to pay for his scales when he's only open 13 days a year.
We don't need a scale, so.
Yeah. Right.
He came when we were doing hay rides and greeted his old customers and hung around in the parking lot, so it was good. Couple different Sundays.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So Maurice, I didn't know that we still had 400 brochures.
I mean, I haven't counted them. I'm
Well-
just kind of looking at the bundles, but,
Yeah, well, I've pretty much used up the ones I have, so I'll have to stop by and get some.
Sure.
Doesn't work.
sure, there's still a few more spots around town that I wanted to put them in, like, non-farm businesses that were okay with it, so. I'll just make sure to save some for this forum, but maybe at that next meeting, or if you'd like, I can order some now. I mean, I'm not sure what the turnaround time would be and if
Yeah.
they'd be ready in time. Usually they take like 3 weeks or so to print, and I know we'd have to get a
But I-
PO and whatnot.
I don't think we should, if there's 400, that's a lot.
Okay.
That's should be plenty.
Okay. Sure,
So,
so we
yeah.
can at least, I'll make sure to set some aside and bring plenty to that meeting in January
Yeah,
then.
okay.
And then we can revisit how many are left after that.
And Lynn did put out the ones that Bert brought, so that people that come into the library will see the brochures there. too.
Oh, great, great. I need to bring some here to town hall. That's another place that I need to top up or add to. Okay. That's great. So
I
they're
had
at
to
the
take
library.
out the master plan brochures and put in the farm brochures.
No, no, there's room for both.
That's true. No, I'm not gonna do that. Master plan, we still have ways to go.
Exactly, exactly.
None of that, none of that.
Right? Oh, dear.
Okay,
Oh, no, for you.
okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, but speaking of the master plan, that's our next item. We haven't met in a month. We actually meet again tomorrow. So, I don't really have much to tell you. Some survey results are out and Marissa has an article in the current Southwoods about the visioning sessions and some of the comments that were made there. So be sure to check that out. Let's see, the Sofinowski Preserve, we had a little bit of thought of doing a third work party last Sunday, but kind of fell through the cracks and so we didn't do it.
Well, I think there's more availability. People just couldn't get out.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't the best weather either. It was a cold day.
Cold and I think it's
That's when it
getting
started.
Snow.
rainy. Yeah, so we may,
So similar to time. Yeah.
depending on the weather, we might do one in January.
Yeah.
How about the community garden signs?
Yeah, I just looking at this, I remembered that I haven't gotten a quote yet from Southwoods. I sent one over, request over, but I just need to follow up with them again, so I'll ping them for a reminder.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see, so our youth members, forgive me if I already said this, but Lucas Karen, who we were referring to earlier, he applied to the select board to be a member of AgCom. But there's a little glitch in that he's not old enough to vote. So town clerk Michelle Hill is kind of scratching her head saying, okay, well, what do we do here? So she's reached out to some folks on the state level and trying to figure out, if he can have some sort of, official role on the AgCom. So
It's getting to the point where they should start letting people of 18 or 17 join these commissions, or there's gonna be no one left.
Well, how did they do it for the master plan? He got sworn in and everything for that.
well,
so
that's a good point.
the youth member out there. I mean, there's
Yeah.
2 students.
Yeah, I think it was just because they called it like specific student positions. Because they can't vote on, they can't really vote essentially.
That's just,
Yeah.
she
Okay.
needs to identify.
Is there-
comments.
Jess, do you mind identifying yourself, please, with your address? Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
for-
sure. Jessica, yep, Jess Parker, 62 Sheep Pasture Road.
Do you
you.
know, Jessica, is there any language in like our master plan documents or the work plan or anything that sort of allows youth members? I mean, I think our bylaw that's
I don't think there was, because they weren't considering them like actual members, voting members, because it was just like a student, almost like an internship. But I don't know, I mean, I think something like having a youth position, I don't know if that's something that you could potentially do down the line, but for example, for the Westfield Riding Club, we created a junior VP position so that we could, and we did have to change our bylaws to do that, but that was so that we could bring on, youth to have a position and someone in the school system to, bring others along the way.
Well, we'll work through it.
Maybe we can ask the planning board and see how they,
Yeah.
what protocol they use to have student members, even if they're not voting, but it would be a way to get them on, at least
Sure.
get them.
I mean, and Lucas can, or any other high school student participate in the meetings and.
Right, open it up to all Southwick high schoolers, yeah,
Whatever. So,
yeah.
and kind of along those lines too, I was in touch with Carl Steinhardt and Robin Solek, who's the admin for the select board, about folks who like Angie and Jessica and a couple of others who are interested in joining AgCom, but I'm waiting to get on the agenda, basically. So we'll see.
Sorry, on that note, Bert, I know that we discussed changing from like a full member to an associate. Has that been done yet for?
No, it's kind of part
That's
of.
part of that as
kind of
well,
a
okay.
Package deal, you might say.
I see,
So,
okay, so
But maybe,
do we have to write a letter asking to be changed to an associate or anything?
yeah. Carl didn't say
Okay.
any of that, but let me follow up, because it maybe doesn't need to be a package
Yeah.
deal,
Yeah, well. Let me know what would be required to change to an associate member if I need to write a letter or something or update my letter of interest. I don't know what the protocol is, but once you know.
Yeah.
Happy to do that.
I'm sure it has to be in writing. Like everything else we do, when we, like our intention to rejoin the board
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one, maybe that's,
Not
yeah.
to be facetious, maybe it's a letter of less interest.
Maybe. Oh, dear. Oh,
Yeah, fun with it. So, and the ICOM newsletter would be part of. Website first, newsletter later, right?
Yeah, because it's gonna be pretty much the same for a little bit, just because it's free to do digital.
Sure.
And it gives us contacts, you write stuff.
Okay, it's not on the agenda, but this is just information. Anita, you just were at a conference, right? What kinds of things did you?
It was the New England Fruit and Vegetable Conference, so a lot of technical. To sweet corn, tomatoes, a lot run by the UMass and the University of New Hampshire, all of New England.
Oh.
So a lot of it is technical. There was a trade show with a lot of equipment and seed companies and stuff like that. Not much. I looked to see if there was much that would pertain to the AgCom, which really, there really wasn't that kind of stuff. It was more sales.
Yeah.
Fertilizer companies, stuff like that. Just trying to get there.
It's like the biggie.
Kind of, except just really tailored to farmers coming and There's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Was it-
really well attended.
Was it at UMass?
No, it's in Manchester, New Hampshire.
You were all the way up there.
Yeah, we go back in the morning because it's up every day, but we went Tuesday. Josh went back today, Katie and I are going back tomorrow. It's almost 3 hours up there,
Yeah.
so. But I suppose it's central, or, given that they get people coming out of Maine and, all of that kind of stuff, so.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
it's.
a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it's well done, and to retain pesticide licenses, if you have a pesticide license, you need a certain amount of credits every year, and you get credits for going to these technical things, so that's a big part of it. Yeah, but I was impressed how many people there are actually, well, how much interest there is. There's a lot of small organic and non-organic farms, people interested in that, so.
What's the name of the trade fair? It's,
New England
New
fruit and
England fruit
vegetable.
and vegetable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
um,
That's cool.
It's good.
Okay, just two other FYI type things. I think I sent around the invitation to the town hall holiday, excuse me, holiday gathering next Friday. Yeah, so 5 to 7. And then town hall is closed December 23rd, 26th, and January 2nd. So no hanging around town hall. All right. Okay. Good. Anybody else have any information, comments, questions?
I have something.
Okay.
My wife works for Big Y and she's in charge of gift cards and like donations. So if we have an event coming up, we can get some free money from Big Y basically,
Okay.
like for waters or snacks
Okay.
or something.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's very generous. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, she does,
She works for Big Y. She's in charge of like the gift cards and
Oh.
all that stuff. She works at the corporate office.
oh,
And she does donation requests and stuff like that. We just probably have to go on the website and fill out a donation request.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, she can hook us up.
Oh, that's
Good.
great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Very good.
maybe you could do that for the Sofinowski.
Yeah, for
Right.
work parties, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We could probably do it for the meeting too.
Forum,
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That has some
Um,
refreshments.
So that way you don't have to jump over hoops to get a receipt, Bert,
Right. Right.
or you.
Yeah. Get paid 6 months later, right?
Did you finally get paid?
I did. Finally, a couple weeks ago, I got it.
Bert
Forgot
still has it.
I think I did by email, but
about it.
Mhm.
right.
How is the Sophomore stuff coming? So,
Good. We've made a big difference.
Big impact.
If, so looking from Mort Vining Road, there's a big pond,
mhm.
kind of to the right of the parking area, and there's a smaller pond. So we've opened up the shore line. Yeah, you see the ponds now. right?
Yeah.
This small pond still needs a little work, but
Yeah.
it looks better.
Well, if you need bigger trees cut down or something that we could do with a tractor, and I can't promise that maybe we could come and have the time to come and stay with the crew for a whole afternoon or something. But if there's something specific that the equipment that we have would help with, let me know.
There is one tree that needs to get cut down over there.
Are they still not letting us cut anything over 3 inches or whatever?
No, with
We
permission.
can now.
Oh.
Yeah, I already actually marked, so we went a little bit ago and we marked quite a bit of the area, like
Okay.
with like landscape string and whatnot to
Okay.
mark,
Okay.
what trees were okay to come down. We did it with the conservation coordinator Sabrina, so she gave the okay.
Okay.
So that we could do like one off whenever you have time, Lenita. I could
It's-
just meet you there.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whoever's- Or Josh. if
that
he's-
he's got bigger saws and then he's always cleaning around the edges of our fields and stuff.
Yes,
We
he
could-
is.
Yeah. So,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, he goes totally different. I mean, we could come up and meet Josh and Mark and, at least drop them
Yeah,
or, you know, anything like that, or with the
Okay.
bucket tractor, with the forks on it, or to move some bigger stuff, or.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
I know a lot of times that's a hang up.
It is,
you know,
yeah,
in
yeah.
town.
right.
So
As we were
just,
saying, we have permission to do. They know the work we want to do, and so we don't
Right.
have to get permission each day we want to go there. We're
Okay.
just gonna do what we've agreed to. And it doesn't. Depend on your schedule, if you or Josh or Mark,
mean, we can
ever
walk it.
come at a particular day,
right,
you know,
right,
doesn't have to be during a cleanup event.
yeah,
Yeah.
we do a lot of that in the winter anyway,
Right.
around our field. So it's a good
That's
place to
kind
do
of-
it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So if at some point, after we get by the holidays, if you wanna walk it and show us, we can
Sure,
come and.
yeah.
I think even some of the bigger trees we tagged with Sabrina that day.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
the area is tagged and the individual trees to come down are tagged
Okay.
too. So
Yeah,
we can
okay.
just show you, you know,
Yeah,
color code and say, these are the ones. and
okay, yeah.
Figure out a date and time. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
okay.
great. Thank
Okay.
you.
And I don't know, now we don't actually have permission for this, but walking the trails, there's several places where there's trees broken, you
Yeah.
know, leaning.
Yeah.
Over the trail, and they're hung up in branches of another tree, but
Right,
it
right.
doesn't seem good,
No,
for people, walking under there.
right, right.
So I don't know if you guys can handle something like that.
Yeah, I don't see
you
it
think-
not. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, because then if they're dropped down and, you know, taken to a more manageable size, then it's easier to get some people in there and
Right.
move this up around or make a brush pile. Or you said you got somebody doing some burning?
Yeah.
When the brush piles are made, yeah.
I don't know if you know, Carol and Dana Gway, they live right in that. The house is kind of, their property is carved out of the Sofinowski pretty much.
Oh, and
They live
keep
right there.
horses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
mhm,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's, okay, great, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Zach, thank you for the.
Yep.
Offer. of-
Yeah, if you want me to-
of that.
I mean, I can put in the request, I think, or. I don't know where we would have it sent, probably to here. It comes in the form of a gift card, so
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably have it.
have it mailed to the icon at.
Yeah, come here, just, so it's kind of official. you know,
Yeah,
So. So
Um,
Bert Hanson or. you
It
know.
can only be under $50.
yeah, I think it'll be way less than that.
Yeah.
Not way less, but enough to get us stuff.
Yeah.
It's what, 50 a year?
I believe
So we could get one in this year and then have another one for next year.
next fiscal years.
Oh, fiscal year. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can do
I
it
think
June
that's
or
just
July.
$5.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, you know, one is better than,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
In case of the water or whatever.
Okay,
And just let me know about what you're thinking for kind of numbers of people, if you have any idea. for,
I-
funds.
hope and pray that we will have an idea.
Okay.
You know? But we'll see, yeah.
Everybody
This young
can
woman,
take home donuts and stuff. We don't use it.
okay, well, with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Tammy,
Aye.
Marisa,
Hi.
Lenita,
Aye.
and Zach.
Aye.
Okay.
okay, I'm ending the meeting for all. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.